Okay, and as advertised, we're going to turn things over to Scott, who is going to give you an overview of the Chamber's plan. Also, as advertised, I know for me personally, I don't think that we utilized all of the features of the Chamber's plan that are available, especially when it comes to marketing the plan. And I think there's just a tremendous opportunity for all of us to take advantage of some of the features that they've implemented, some fairly recently. So I thought it was time for Scott to just take a few minutes to give you an overview. And the attendance today suggests that there's lots of interest in this. So Scotty, I'll turn it over to you.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you, Stu. So Stu's going to be changing slides for me. So let's get started. There's a lot of information to get through. I think I know pretty much everybody on the call, in case there's anyone that I don't know. A little bit of background, which kind of segues into to why I've joined Chamber's plan and abandoned the Chamber network.
Is that a smell? Can you smell it? Because when I'm in here, my eyes are burning.
Someone needs to mute themselves, and I need to figure out how to advance this slide, Scott.
Sounds like Nora's
there it
baking
is
again.
Okay. All right, I shall also mute.
So as I was saying, for those that don't know me, I was about 30 years in the Chamber business as a manager and a volunteer and board member before that in Burlington. But I've worked with the Burlington Chamber, Hamilton, Milton, Vice President, General Manager of the Ontario Chambers. So it was kind of a natural for me to join the Chamber's plan because they were looking for someone that could kind of bridge the divide between the advisors and the chambers, and so it was a very, again, good fit for me. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. Stu, you can stay on this slide just for a minute. So again, there's a lot to go over. So if I go a little bit quickly, that's why, but we'll have a time for Q&A afterwards. And I should let you know too that the slides are going to be available after. So you don't have to panic about taking notes. But the one thing that I wanted to talk about is that we are built by and for Chamber people. And the one thing that I learned during my training session, and especially when I was in Winnipeg for my early training, is that the Johnston Group, which runs the Chamber's plan, they have such a passion for helping chambers. And I can reassure you that anytime they look at new products and services, everything's looked at in terms of how it can help the chambers and your members. A little known fact is that the Chamber group insurance plan was started actually by the Winnipeg Chamber in the early 1970s, at a time when small business really couldn't get group insurance. Now the program has grown to include 850 chambers and boards of trade and 33,000 companies across Canada. And we have a Chamber's Plan Board of Directors that's populated by Chamber staff and volunteers. And of course, here in Ontario, that is Debbie Nicholson from Sudbury, who's on the board representing the Chamber staff, and then Bob Armstrong, who's a supply chain executive in the Ajax Pickering area, is the volunteer. And now we have this Chamber Relations Department, and really this group is here to help you and the advisors grow the plan. And since many of, or pretty much all of the people that are in the Chamber Relations Department have worked at a chamber, we kind of get what it means to have to run a chamber. So Stu, we'll go to the next slide, and I'm going to quickly introduce the team. I don't think anyone's on the call with us, but there are now 4 people in the team. So Alana Kuma is the director, and a lot of you probably have talked with Alana. And of course, you'll see that I'm hard at work, wearing sunglasses, probably sitting on a patio, probably at a chamber convention somewhere. Alana was at the Winnipeg Chamber, and she and Georgia work out of the Winnipeg headquarters. And then Chris Berry was hired a few weeks ago. He was with the Greater Vancouver Board of Trade and now works with the chambers in BC and the Yukon. And I'm still based in Burlington, working from home and working with the 400 or so chambers in Ontario and Atlantic Canada. The next slide, Stu. So Chambers Plan is very much seen as a partnership between head office in Winnipeg, the advisor, which is your local insurance broker, and you, the chamber. And really by working closely together, we can support your members and also support the chamber network itself. And so really, I'm going to go kind of bottom up on this slide because it tells a great tale. Of the companies that enroll in Chambers Plan across Canada, 70% of those firms were not chamber members before they joined Chambers Plan. And now 93.4% of those people that are on Chambers Plan stay on the plan. And that obviously helps keep members for you because they have to be a member of a chamber to be on Chambers Plan. And I know since we all love money, it's really quite amazing that almost $14 million every year is put back into the chamber network and administration fees. And so, you know, I'm sure you'll agree it makes it one of the best affinity programs for the chamber network. Next one, Stu. So Chambers Plan does have great products and services and tangible benefits for your members. It also gives you that non-dues revenue with the administration fees and helps you attract and retain members. And while you may not be aware of this, there's also a service that Chambers Plan provides to collect your membership dues for you. You simply add the fees onto we add the fees onto the Chambers Plan premium, and then we remit your portion to you on a monthly basis. So really, as companies renew with Chambers Plan, they also renew with you. So that becomes another great retention tool. Next. For Chambers Plan, really, it's about providing exceptional products and services for your members. And Chambers Plan offers stability at a time when many insurance providers are increasing their rates by 10 to 15%. April 1st is our new fiscal, and we just announced the average increase for participating firms is 3.99%. And that means that basically over the past 3 years, the overall average increase has been under 4%. So it's very competitive in a very, very tight group insurance market. And with the current challenges that all companies have had in recruiting and retaining employees, the group and benefits become more and more essential, which really, in a way, puts Chambers Plan in a great position to also help you. But it's more than about just health and dental, and that's why I wanted to talk about some of the new products that are available. Next slide, Stu. So let's explore parts of Chambers Plan that you might not be aware of. And let me tell you right from the start that all of these are included in Chambers Plan. So there are no upgrades that you or your members have to do. Teledoc is medical experts. It's a confidential service that provides clarity, confidence, and understanding. If you have concerns or doubts about a diagnosis, you need help in deciding on treatment options, or if there's even a question about the need for surgery. Even if employees are in the US, Teledoc is ready any time of day, 7 days a week. And employees can book a video call with a licensed doctor without having to wait at a clinic or a hospital, or just wonder about any of their non-urgent medical concerns.
Because he should know about this.
The telemedicine services provide the quickest route to a diagnosis, and if necessary, the doctor can even
This is
send.
about the chamber insurance plan, which is something you'll kind of mention too. So if you want to sit in on this.
Yeah, sure, I will.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Wendy, can we get
Yeah,
you
I
to
just
mute,
found out
please?
about it now, so.
Welcome to Wendy's friend. So anyway, the bottom line is this Teledoc service, in a way, is helping to keep people away from emergency departments if they really don't need to go there. And as I say, I've talked to a lot of chambers that have great examples of their members traveling in the States and having health issues and not, wanting to go to a US emergency department and just having access to Teledoc to help out with them. Next slide there, Stu. So there's another service that's called Pocket Pills. Pocket Pills is Canada's #1 online pharmacy where You use one account to handle all of your family's pharmaceutical needs. It manages the renewal directly with your doctor, and it provides significant savings and free delivery anywhere in Canada. It's an app that can be set up for auto refills. You can sort medication by date and time using pocket packs to make sure that medicine is being taken at the right time. And in talking with some of the Ontario chambers, I know some of you may have been approached by Rexall Pharmacy to do an affinity program and something that may pay a membership or a referral fee to the chamber. Rexall is saying that they're offering a competitive dispensing fee for the medication and a 20% discount on their private brand products. The one thing I wanted to point out today is the 20% savings doesn't apply to prescription medications, which is why they can really then work with all drug plans, regardless of what the insurance provider is. With pocket pills, it's already in your plan, and it offers a 10% extra reimbursement over the plan. So, for example, if the plan is reimbursing 80%, then the user is getting an extra 10%. So really, they're only out of pocket the balance of 10%. And the drug prices through pocket pills is also a little bit lower, so people can save overall, and those savings are passed on to the consumer. They offer competitive dispensing fees, automatic refills, same-day drug delivery across Canada, and you can also have a private consultation with pharmacists. So you've already got a plan that's working quite well. Stu, next slide, please. There's another product that's available called Hugger, and we all know that mental health was a huge issue during the pandemic and really continues to be. Hugger is a mental wellness app that's designed to help people feel connected. And really what happens is the app offers self-awareness check-ins, cognitive behavioral therapy-based learning, and trend tracking for social connections, experience at work, loneliness, isolation, and anxiety to help people take an active role in their mental well-being. And I know we've all been searching through the pandemic and afterwards for tools to help our own employees, but also our member employees. So Hugger is a great tool for that. Next one, Stu. Anyone that's been on the plan, you know the My Benefits portal. It's the online piece that gives everyone quick and secure access to the online benefits coverage. And on that site, you can review your benefit details, submit your claims, track your usage history. And also through My Benefits, there's My Benefits Health that allows you to navigate the Canada Healthcare Guide, access up-to-date news, articles, tools, information on medical conditions and treatments. And people find this platform helpful in terms of finding a family doctor or a specialist, checking wait times for procedures, locating patient assistance programs, exploring resources on senior care, and searching Canadian prescription drug and conditions libraries. The My Benefits Health also provides a health risk assessment, which is about a 20-minute tool to complete, and it contains sort of easy to answer questions about your health and your habits, such as, how often do you get a good night's sleep? Have you had your blood pressure tested in the last 2 years? What are the common sources of stress in your life? And when you're done, you get a customized report that includes some practical health tips and information. And all of that is completely confidential, so none of your personal information is shared at all. Next one, Stu. We know sometimes personal and work-related issues can affect people and how they perform their jobs. So the Arrive EAP, or Employee Assistance Program, is designed to provide support and assistance, or support and guidance. The program is offered to help people with stress and the challenges that they face. Simply, it's a 1-800 number that you call. The toll-free number. A professional will ask you some basic questions to identify how best to help, and then a counselor or an expert then arranges for either face-to-face or telephone counseling. And again, through all this, confidentially is assured. People don't need to let their employer know that they're using the service, and the employee is never going to be advised of the call. And issues, may range from family challenges, marital challenges, work-related difficulties like stress, burnout, issues with supervisors or coworkers, bullying, depression, and much, much more. And the important point here is that through the Chambers plan, there's 12 hours of counseling per year that's available. And we actually want people to use the full program if they need the assistance. There are some other insurance providers that try and get people off the assistance as quickly as possible because they want to save money. But our philosophy is if you need the help, let's maximize the amount of help that you get. Next one, Stu. And sometimes small business owners just need some quick advice on an issue, and they really don't need or can't afford a team of specialists. So when there's an unexpected problem, the Chamber's Business Assistance Program is available to help fill that gap. It's, again, a confidential service that provides access to professional accounting, counseling, legal, human resources experts who understand the challenges of the small business owner. And this is one-on-one consultation with expert advisors, free of charge. I actually tested it when I joined Chambers Plan just to see how it worked. And I put a request in on Sunday night, and 9 o'clock Monday morning, I had the phone call to try and set up and answer my question. There's also the Healthy Business Bookmark website. That's a resource for businesses if they need help with recruitment, termination, leaves, onboarding, employment standards. It has sample contracts, guides, as well as resources like podcasts and articles. Next one, Stu. And as I've mentioned, the Johnston Group and Chambers Plan, we really do have our roots in the Chamber network, and that care permeates through everything that we do. It's why this Chamber Relations Department was created, because we want you now to have a day-to-day resource available. You'll still be working with your advisor. You can still connect with them whenever you need to, but we're here to help you because we speak Chamber. The advisors are good at speaking insurance, but the Chamber Relations Department understands what it means to run a chamber. And so our goal now is to make sure that you've got the resources, training, and support, which I'll talk a little bit more in the next slides. So if you're not aware of the resource site, be sure to check this out. The address is at the bottom of this slide, but again, you'll be getting the PowerPoint, so they'll have that as well. The address, again, at the bottom, and the password is simply Chamber. Make it easy. If you need French materials, you'll see at the top of the screen, you can change the language setting. So there are all of the marketing materials available in both languages. And if there's something you need that you don't see on the site, just let us know. The goal for us is we want to make it simple for you to help us promote Chambers Plan. So whether it's website banner ads, email newsletter ads, they're available for you to just plug and play, and then you can get on with running the chamber. Next one, Stu. So hopefully some of you have seen this before. We ask all of our advisors to sit down annually with their chambers to create a marketing checklist or a partnership checklist. And it's really to define what you're going to do for the plan and what the advisor will do. Because the bottom line for us is the more visibility there is for the plan, the more leads that get generated, which means ideally more sales and more administration fees coming back to the chamber. If your advisor is not doing this plan with you, they should be doing it shortly, because this is, again, kind of the renewal season. But if they're not doing it, let me know, and we'll make sure it gets done, because it's an important tool for both you and the advisor. Next one, Stu. So some things that we're working on, training for chamber staff. We did a survey in 2022 of chamber staff, and 70% of the people showed interest in more training on Chambers Plan, the actual insurance product, and some of the best practices for leveraging it at the chamber level. So we're in the process now of developing a suite of courses aimed at teaching the context behind Chambers Plan, really how it's developed, who runs it, etc., and how chambers can benefit from a healthy relationship with Chambers Plan. A lot of you will know with CCEC, we have the Chamber Accelerator program, which is kind of teaching the basics in quick 5-minute mini lessons each day. We do have new marketing materials because we do hear from chambers that you're looking for more current marketing materials to share with your members. We see this as a good problem, so we want to make sure that you have as many tools as you can. On the site that I showed you before, we're constantly updating new contact. We've just uploaded a new Chambers Plan awareness campaign for social media. There are 11 brochures, 9 videos in varying lengths for different platforms, and a new edition of the plan news that kind of recaps the state of Chambers Plan in last year and what's happening as we look forward post renewal on April 1st. And if there are materials that you need that you don't see, just let us know. And there's also a focus on mental health. As I mentioned earlier, many of our value add programs come with chambers with the mental health tools available. We in the 2022 survey, the respondents noted that burnout and mental health are probably the toughest challenge that are also facing the chamber and your staff. So we're working on new programming, including some mental health supports available for chamber staff to make sure that the network stays as strong as you can be. Next one, Stu. So over the years, I know that there's been a lot of discussions about, what can be the next great affinity plan for chambers. And so really part of the message that I wanted to get across today is that Chambers Plan is probably the best affinity program that's available right now. So rather than trying to find the next best one, why don't we just grow Chambers Plan? And this department, Chamber Relations, is here to kind of help you do that and to connect you with those online tools. So get in touch with me whenever you want. I'm here for all the chambers in Ontario and Atlantic Canada. I'm also going to be at Advocacy Day on Monday, so I'll be there if you want to talk to me. And I'm going to be at the OCC AGM in late April as well. And with that, we will move to any Q&A.
Suzanne.
Hi there. Thank you, Scott. That was a great presentation. I know I've shared this with you the last time we spoke, and our rep for the Chambers Plan in our Oxford County region does Woodstock, Brantford, Ingersoll, Norwich, and I believe Brantford probably has a great relationship with them. And by great, I mean they would attend easily many of their events. For us here, we have never had what you talk about an annual advisor meeting, nor have we. I think I've only once received something by email in all these years. And another thing I'd like to say is when I refer to him and Selena, Jay, a new member who is specifically interested in the Chamber Group's insurance program, I don't get any information back. So I'm going back into my emails and I'm saying to myself, okay, how did this work? I mean, I can look at the report I get, Chambers Group Insurance, did they end up on that? But they don't, and they are a member. And I find myself wondering, is it true, the rumor I've heard that they've sent them somewhere else because the Chambers Plan wasn't good enough for them. There was an alternate one. So I don't know what your comments or knowledge on that would be. If you can just give me some guidance on that, I'll definitely work with you to get it a little bit better than what I think I think it could be better for sure.
Yeah, and I can follow up you directly as well. But I mean, there's a few things to unpack there. One is that the advisors can't attend all the chamber events because they do have a lot of territory that they cover. But the expectation is that they are going to be available and try and come out to the events that are appropriate for them. So we can talk about that. But in terms of the follow-up on leads, part of it is if we can get the leads put through the chamber portal, so the online portal where you can put in the leads, it'll go back automatically to the appropriate advisor. But it's a way for Chambers Plan head office and the regional marketing director, which in Ontario's case is Brett Tanner. It's a way for them to monitor the leads. and make sure that the follow-up is happening. And you're right. I mean, Chambers Plan is not going to be for every business, but again, as you saw from the renewal rates, we're the most competitive in terms of renewals and have a lot of great products. So Brett Tanner is watching the advisors to make sure that they're not just automatically trying to put them onto another program.
Lots of questions coming up. So I see Sue and then Paul and then Kim.
Thanks, Stu. So I have the same issue as Suzanne, and interestingly, with the same servicing advisor, we've spoken to them about not collecting dues. I wasn't aware that there was a service. We've never been told that there was a service where we could have them collect dues. My understanding is that they would help us with that at the time that they signed them up, but we're finding that's not happening. We are getting these monthly reports, but we're not getting any assistance in actually connecting with these people that they're signing up for chamber benefits that aren't paying their membership. And one of my directors gave me this piece. This was a marketing piece that came out recently in the mail with the Canadian flag on the front. Nowhere in this is there any mention that you have to be a member of a chamber to sign up for chamber benefits. And even when you click on the QR code and you go through to that level, there's nothing on there that says that you are required to be a member of a chamber in order to take advantage of this plan. So there seems to be a disconnect, Scott, between what you're trying to accomplish and what the servicing advisors are doing. We did have them come out to our AGM last year, but that's the first time in a very long time that we've been able to connect with them. And even though we get in touch with them and say, we have a list of all these supposed members that have never paid any dues that are taking advantage of the chamber's plan, we just don't seem to get anywhere with that. So I'm glad you exist as an entity now that maybe you can help us with this, because we just keep hitting a brick wall with this particular servicing advisor.
Okay. Yeah, again, so I'm happy to follow up with you directly to talk about a bunch of these things, but I mean, definitely if there are companies that are on Chambers Plan, they have to be members. So
not happening.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll have to look at that. And if you want to take advantage of the monthly fee collection, I mean, it's a simple form that has to be filled out. So we can make sure that your advisor helps you with that as well.
Absolutely. It used to happen with the advisor before.
Yeah.
It isn't happening now. And we just hit a wall every time we try to raise it as an issue. So obviously there's something here we need to get worked out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Happy to help out.
Thank you.
Paul and then Kim.
Yeah, a couple of things quickly. So the monthly plan works well for us. We do just shy of $70,000 a year on chamber insurance plan, and just shy of $1,200 a month on the monthly side, which, I mean, it's great. It's great revenue. One of the things that I did when I stepped into this seat was to start taking a bit more detailed look at it. And we had members that hadn't paid their membership since like 2016. So we've been able to recover a lot of those, but there is a fair amount of background work, and you have to be working closely with your advisor to make sure they're on the same page. One of the things we did this year was we actually made them one of our major sponsors. So they are on every single event we do, and to get them a bit more engaged. I'm still struggling on getting updates when they onboard members. So there needs to be more work done on that, Scott. I mean, if you can help on that front, that would be great.
Okay.
The other thing too is with the rates, if you adjust your rates, you have to refill out that form. Otherwise, they're going to continue to charge your monthly at the old rate. So just to keep that in mind. That's it. It was more just, it's a great program, and if you can get your teeth into it, you can do really well with it.
Yeah, and then the advisor does need to know, and Johnston Group in Winnipeg does need to know when the membership fees are increased. But for most of you, that's on an annual basis. So, you know, the advisor should be helping you to gather that information.
Kim and then Melanie.
Mine's pretty quick. So you want us to use the portal instead of sending them. When anybody calls and inquires about the plan, I send them right to our rep, who is the same as Tilsonburg or Paris. So, and I don't hear back who started on the plan or not, but then sometimes I will email them back and forth. So, because I had an issue, somebody used the button on our website to go to the Chambers plan and never heard anything about it. And I just double checked it before I put my hand up. It is going right to the Chambers plan, get a quote. And they never heard back from anybody. So I'm leery about doing that.
Okay.
And it is going to the right link, get a free quote. And it pops up. So I was just a little concerned if there's a lag time between clicking on the button for getting a quote and how soon they hear from somebody.
Yeah, there
Because
should be.
sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes with insurance, it's not always top of mind. So it's like, okay, the action's got to turn around fairly quickly.
Yeah, I'll look
Trevor,
into that for you, Karen, but it should, or it's Kim, sorry, it should happen pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason that we want it to go through the portal again is so that that we can make sure that things are being followed up properly, and Brett Tanner, maintains kind of the metrics around the province in terms of, the advisors, closing ratios to the leads, things like that. So the more information we have, the easier it is for him to monitor the advisors.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Trevor, just in case you didn't see it, also posted in the chat that he has put a quote button right on their website. Sounds like you've done the same thing, Kim, but there was lots of, wow, that's a great idea, reaction to that. So Melanie and then Debbie.
Thanks, Stu. Hi, Scott. Miss you. So I will say our advisor is quite good and does come to our monthly networking events and to most of our in-person events. So they've been a great partner. So my question is, if we are going through the portal, do I risk losing that friendship, that connection when I make a direct referral?
No.
Because it feels a little more personal when I do it that way.
No, you can still advise them. You can still tell them that that
Okay.
you've made the referral. So it's that you're just getting the best of both worlds, but the portal again allows it to be monitored.
Yeah, and I do like that because I'll just share some feedback. So I had lunch, we had a team lunch with our advisor last week, and they service a lot of different areas, and it was a little loose when it came to membership. So, I just reminded them that, we require a board approval for all members. So sometimes people will just show up on our monthly report and, we haven't approved them, we haven't onboarded them. And my advisor said to me, oh, that's okay. If you don't approve them, I'll just send them to another chamber. And so to me, it just kind of defeats the spirit of what being a member of a chamber is all about.
Yeah.
It should be geographically sourced, and it should be, where they can also take advantage of the other membership, and then the one thing I thought that was really interesting, Scott, was that, so our advisor is a new member of the team, newish, and they literally had no idea what a chamber does. So and wanted to be able to come out with us on some of our cold calls and member visits, which I thought was great. And we're certainly open to that. But they didn't know what the benefits of being a chamber member was. So I'm just wondering if some of that chamber onboarding can go the other way with some of the agencies that are representing the plan.
Yeah.
And then just one final feedback was that I do know that when we send them leads, they are absolutely quoting other plans. And I know that it's in the best interest of the client for that to happen. But I'd love, along with everyone else that's mentioned this, I'd love a feedback loop of just letting us know what's happened so that we can close that to do on our list and make sure that the member's been serviced properly.
Okay. So you're on the right track in terms of teaching the advisors about chambers. So Brett Tanner has talked about that, and he's got a meeting in May with all the advisors. So it's one of their annual conferences, and so I'll be there to talk about what a chamber is. And yeah, I think I can follow up again with you, Melanie, but I think we've kind of talked about everything else.
Okay. Debbie and then Rakesh. You're still muted, Deb. There you are.
Thanks, Stu, and thanks, Scott, for joining us today. This is very valuable information for the network for sure. A couple of things I wanted to share with the group. Scott talked about, the value of the program, and in many of our chambers, this is probably our largest non-dues revenue generator for our chamber. So obviously it's in all of our best interest to make sure the program is successful. But that success is really a three-way street. It's between the Johnston Group, it's between the advisor, and it's between the chamber. And there is an expectation on the Johnston's Group behalf that you're not just raking in $20 or $50 or $75,000 a year without helping them to market the program within your chamber. And that marketing can be in-kind marketing. It doesn't always have to be paid marketing. And there's a whole raft of things that you can do to help market the program that doesn't cost you anything. Things like including an ad in your newsletter or an article in your newsletter. And you don't need to write the article. That can come from the Johnston Group. They have all of those marketing assets available that anybody can take advantage of. You can have the advisor come to a new member welcome. You can have them come to your networking sessions. You can include it on your website. You can include it in social media. There's a whole host of things that you can do. And I would encourage everyone to do those things because it really helps you market the program and it helps the program be successful. The other thing I wanted to touch on, and I've seen several comments in the chat about a business joins the program, but they may be located in your community, but they've joined another community's chamber. And the Johnston Group has shared that they can't tell a business which chamber to join in order to take advantage of the program. So it really is up to the business which chamber they want to join. But if they're located in your community and they join the neighboring chamber because they have cheaper rates or something like that, the admin fee is supposed to go to the chamber in which the postal code is located in. So I hope everybody is aware of that. And I believe that's still the case. And maybe Scott, you could advise if that's no longer the case, but you may be getting revenue from the plan for a member that is not your member. They may be a member in another community, but you should be getting the admin fees if the business is physically located in your community. So I just wanted to share that for everybody's information.
Yeah, thanks, Debbie. And that is still the case in terms of the postal codes with the admin fees. But it's also, it kind of speaks to maintaining the communication with the advisor, because as the advisor is quoting on business for Chambers plan, then they can be looping you in so that you can talk about the benefits of joining your chamber versus a neighboring chamber. And as Debbie says, sometimes the company just does it for pure financial reasons, because there may be a local chamber that's a fraction of the price, but ideally they're going to be in the same chamber where the admin fees are going. The other thing I'll just highlight, Debbie talked about the social media. If you're not on Twitter, if you're not connected to Chambers Plan Ontario region, you should connect to that, because that's an easy way to just share and retweet.
Okay.
Rakesh.
Rakesh, Suzanne, and then Sharon.
Thank you. For the business support services, such as the legal and HR consultation, is there a limit in terms of number of hours, or is there a copay?
There's not a copay, but you know what? I'll have to get back to you, Rakesh, on the limit. I don't believe there's a limit in terms of the number of hours, but I'll find that out for you.
Hi, Scott. It's
It's Georgia.
Yeah, Yes, Georgia is on the call. I snuck in, you didn't see me, but I'm communications coordinator for Chamber Relations. And I have an answer to this question. It is 9 hours per year.
And sorry, that 9 hours is cumulative for all services across, or is it for each, like for HR and legal separately?
It's for all of them.
Oh, total 9 hours.
Yeah, so you have the 9 hours, and that's like one-on-one, counseling. So you get answers to your specific problems. And then, like Scott said, you also have access to the Healthy Business Bookmark, which is like tons of resources and templates and guides on all sorts of like employment things. So that's also super helpful if you have a more like general inquiry.
Okay, thank you.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Georgia.
No
Suzanne?
problem.
Yes, hi. Another question I had, is there an expectation or a requirement that the rep has a membership with the chamber? We were told early on in my career that it was expected that they should be a member of the chambers they work with. And then I was told that no, by the new ones, that no, that's not an expectation. So does anyone know whether that is indeed so or not?
Yeah, I mean, my instinct is that they should be members. I mean, in some cases, if you wanted to do that as an in-kind in return for the admin fees, then that's probably an option. But yeah, unless Georgia wants to jump in, I think the advisor has to be a member.
I was just going to call on Georgia.
They're making more money on your referral. They're making more money on your referrals than the $300 or $400 to join your chamber.
Yeah, no
Ours
kidding.
200 and something.
Yeah, exactly.
and it's
I will say that it's not required, but it is a best practice. So it's something that we encourage advisors to. It also speaks to them knowing more about chambers, and then it's easier for them to sell, that part of chambers plan.
Right.
So that would be a best practice, and maybe something that you can chat with your advisor about. It's just a little difficult sometimes, if advisors have multiple chambers, then they'd have to pick one. So that kind of can become an issue sometimes. You don't want to pick favorites, picking your favorite kid.
But I'll also say that, thanks, George. I'll also say that if you have an advisor that's not a member of your chamber, let me know, and we can nudge.
Sharon, and then Franz, and then we should perhaps just do a check with the group and see if anyone has anything else that they wanted some help with today. So Sharon's bowed out. So Franz.
No, I haven't bowed out. Just put my hand down because I was ready to talk. Sorry.
You're better at that than I am. Go ahead.
So about the last piece, I can definitely understand the challenge, because I obviously deal with a lot of chambers and boards of trade who want their affinity partners to belong to their chamber or board of trade. And in some of the cases that I've heard, there's, sometimes the rep is looking after multiple chambers, which again gets to be very expensive. So I just wanted to put that out there. I've heard that before. But I want to go back to something that I heard, which I've never heard in the 5 years that I've been here, about how payment is made based on a postal code rather than what chamber or board of trade the member belongs to and signed up in the chamber plan to. And that I'm wondering if all the chamber network are aware of that, because I certainly wasn't. And I know that Ontario has a different relationship with the chamber plan than maybe some of the other provinces. But I'm thinking, like, as an example myself, when I was a member of the Toronto Region Board of Trade, if I had lived within a block of, say, the Mississauga Board of Trade, no offense, Trevor, but if I lived within a block of the Mississauga Board of Trade because I'd moved, but I was a member of TRBOT, I would have presumed that TRBOT should be getting the revenue because I belong to them. And I'm thinking more, how do I put this? I'm thinking more of a broader range where you have chambers that are on top of each other, because they're all based on geographic location, and that person might live within a postal code that falls within, in other words, how does the rep work out what the boundary is of each chamber or board of trade by their postal code? How do they know they're actually paying the right chamber or board of trade based on that?
So it is done by postal code for the administration fees. It's the postal code of the business, right? So if you were thinking that it has to be, or it's done by employee, it's actually the business itself. It gets a little bit murky in terms of a company having subsidiaries. So it would be basically the company location that is signed up for Chambers Plan, which is normally the head office. But
So if it is the head office though, so say, and I gave the example because I was a solopreneur and I worked from home unless I went to events. But I'm thinking of those that have their business location, but when you put the postal code in whatever, like Canada Post or whatever, to see where it's located, and it says Stony Creek, but in fact, the boundary of the chamber is a different chamber that they belong to. So I'm wondering if there's murkiness that happens, and additionally, whether the chamber network knows how this works, especially because, Scott, there's been such a changeover in the chamber network with new primary contacts that may not understand why, for instance, they're getting a report with businesses they don't recognize, but it was because it was in their postal code, or businesses they know that did sign up are never showing up on their report. So I just kind of wanted to put it out there because I had no idea about it.
Sure. Yeah, so it is done by postal code, so there may be some murkiness involved in that, but the bottom line too is that for any chambers that see that there are companies on their statement that they're not aware of, and they're kind of wondering why they're showing up, or they're questioning whether they're members, talk to your advisor, and they should be able to answer it for you. And if not, then people can contact me and I'll help sort it out too.
So is there a way that a communication can go out to the chamber network to advise on an upper level basis because of the big changeover, and because people might not know that they should ask, or it's kind of what you don't know sort of thing, but then at least the whole chamber network, and that's including those that are not even members of the OCC, they all understand how it works with the postal codes, would be my suggestion. And if you could copy me in, so that if anyone ever asks or mentions it, I've got reference to talk to them about it too.
Sure. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Franz.
So I am just wondering how, we, Trevor and I share the same, and Terry, the same advisor, and they're fabulous. But I guess I'm very concerned to hear that some chambers are receiving this type of feedback from their advisors. And I guess my question is, how does an advisor become associated with the chamber plan? Do I not understand that the chamber plan is a not-for-profit owned by the chamber network? And so why are we bringing on partners that, and I see Debbie shaking her head, so maybe I don't understand it properly. But so why are we bringing on partners that will not support the chamber network?
So Debbie, feel free to jump in too, but Chambers Plan is a not-for-profit. It's not owned by the network, but it's created for the network, and basically the way it's set up is that to be able to give the administration fees back to the chambers under the regulations, it can be done through a not-for-profit and not through a for-profit. And so when you come to the chamber insurance board of directors, that's where Debbie and Bob Armstrong are on the board to help guide the direction of Chambers Plan. But Johnston Group is hired by the board to administer the program. So that's where the head office people work for Johnston Group, and Johnston Group is hired by the board to run the program. And so as Georgia said, there may be some challenges because the program's, again, 40, 50 years old. So in the early days, there may have been advisors appointed that for whatever reason didn't belong to the chamber. But as Georgia says too, it's kind of an unwritten rule or a best practice that the advisors belong to the chamber, and I'm happy again to talk to any advisors that are not members of their local chamber. Again, because they cover wider geographies, and some chambers are seasonal or volunteer driven. There may be instances where they don't belong to every single chamber, but certainly with the major chambers, I would expect they're members.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Franz. Gail?
Yeah, just wanted to mention to partner up with Francis' comments there. We have two different agents who also have two different territories, but overlap in some areas. So it's a very unique situation. But as long as I've been here for 2.5 decades, I've had one agent that has remained constant, was the agent before I started here. And the other agent has changed brokers 3-4 times now. And each time that's fine, but never does the chamber have an opportunity to chime in to that sale. So we're completely out of the realm for input or otherwise on that. It's completely up to the insurance company.
Yeah, so the way it's set up is that Brett Tanner is the regional marketing director, appoints the brokers, but they are independent business people, so they basically are buying the book of business. So if one of your brokers in Chatham, Kent decided to get out, then there are opportunities for either the current advisor or another advisor to buy the book of business. But Brett Tanner is very involved in that. And I think because I'm here now, if there's a situation where there's going to be a change of ownership, then I think we can work at making sure that the chamber knows about it.
Yeah, and I'm not making it as a comment of complaint. I'm just, it's an observance.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think there would be benefit to others that if this was the practice going forward, to at least reach out to a chamber to from a do you know, in case there is some poor blood or there's a scenario that relationship will not be positive, and maybe the chamber rep, president, CEO, manager already knows something that it won't be a good working relationship. So I'm not complaining. I'm just observing how it works.
Yeah, it's a good best practice. And again, I'm happy to be involved in that. We know, in some markets, the agents are closing in on retirement age, so there will be some change. And Brett's really adamant with the advisors that they do have some kind of a succession plan, whether it's internally or sale of the business, but we can make sure involved or informed of that.
Yeah, and traditionally the chamber finds out after the sale is made to the new agent.
Yeah, I know when I was in Burlington, we changed the agent, and at the time it wasn't Brett Tanner, it was a different marketing director, but he kept me involved. Not necessarily involved, more informed, right? So I was aware that they had issues with the current advisor. I was aware of the fact that that advisor was going to be changed, so that I wasn't blindsided.
Scott, David in the chat is asking how you actually find out who your program rep is supposed to be.
The advisor?
Who do they call, you or Brett?
Oh, call me.
Okay. So you can see that to David in the chat. Maybe flip him your phone number. And actually, if you want to repost your contact information, email and phone number, then anybody can get in touch with you. Because I think when it comes to, places like the Woodstock, Paris, Triangle, who are all having problems with the same rep, you guys can only do something about it when you know about it. So, that's kind of what today is about as well, is letting you know that there are issues. Also, I just have a quick testimonial. I just doing a strat plan for the Blue Mountains Chamber, and when they found out at the board about the chamber's plan, they were talking about working more closely with their rep up there. They're developing an entire marketing plan around the chamber's plan as a key way to attract and retain employees. So if you are a business that's having trouble with staffing, and who isn't, then look at the chamber's plan as a great way to attract employees and keep them. So they're building a marketing campaign around that. So it was just interesting to see their reaction, because they went from having very little knowledge of the plan to developing a marketing plan to help their rep sell it. So I thought that was cool. I see Gail Logan's name on the call today. So for some of you with tenure, I can see a couple of you. You'll recognize Gail's name. I'm not sure, Gail, if you can jump on and say hi, but Gail is the brand new ED for the Perth Chamber of Commerce. So tell us about that, Gail.
Well, hi, everybody. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be back in the network. I was doing fundraising and working for a number of other charities, not-for-profits, but I really missed the network and being involved with business, because as we all know, business people are driven and determined and creative, and I benefit from their energy with the work I do. So this is my week 1 on the job. And I'm so happy to be back, and I'm so happy to see some familiar faces, and I look forward to meeting the rest of you. It's been a while since I was in the Chamber Network.
Gail was with the Ottawa Board of Trade, I believe, for
10 years.
a while. Yeah, exactly.
I retired from the Chamber after having managed Sault Ste. Marie, Kingston, and then ultimately Ottawa.
Right.
And that's when I went into fundraising and working for other not-for-profits and charities. But I really missed the network. And when I saw this posting, I thought, oh, this would be my dream job until I retire. And I got it. So I'm very, very happy and excited to be here.
Brilliant. Welcome back to boldly go where you've been before.
Exactly. Well, that's the nice thing, guys, is that because I know the Chamber, I mean, I've just fallen into the role without any sort of onboarding necessary. My goal now is meeting our members, our stakeholders, town council, et cetera, and putting together a new marketing plan and a whole lot of other stuff that hasn't been done while the position was vacant. But I've got a super board, I've got amazing staff, and it just feels good to be home.
Good to have you back.
Thank you.
Glad you could join us today. Hands up. Anybody else have anything that they want to share? Anything going on? Anything you're having problems with, keeping you awake at night? Anything like that? Just unmute and jump in. I think it's a small enough group, or raise your hand, but let me know. Couple of things on my list while you think about that. Oh, wrong list. Sorry. I posted the link to the Facebook group in chat. So if you want to join that, and please do. I think we've got well over half of the membership now on that Facebook group, and the more we use it, I think the more effective it will be. And I'm just looking at it as a quick way to get a quick answer. I posted something there this morning, and really helped out the person that was trying to figure out a really sticky wicket for themselves. One of the key pieces of feedback in the survey that we sent out in January is that you're all looking for some programming, professional development around membership recruitment and retention. And I've noticed a few people who have actually done fairly well during the last 3 years with specific strategies around member recruitment. So I'm thinking that it would be a really good workshop to put together a panel of 3 of us, chamber people. So I'm just going to put it out there. If you are, or you know of someone who has actually capitalized on the pandemic and gone a little bit more sector specific and a little bit more targeted around member recruitment, targeting stronger sectors that weren't as hurt by the pandemic, for example, or just have very specific marketing plans in place, or have just done well with, personal approach, anything and everything, looking for 3 or 4 people that we could put together a workshop and a panel presentation on that. So please let me know. You can shout it out, or you can put it in the chat, or you can send me an email afterwards, whatever works best. Any other thoughts on the day? If not, it's pressing on 1 o'clock and I can let you all go. Just check the other screen here, see if anyone has got a hand up, and I don't see any. All right. That's it. That's all. Thank you, Scott. Really appreciate the time that you put into it, and obviously the level of interest, a significant increase in attendance today. So I really appreciate that. And we will certainly try to do this every month when we reconvene for Talk Tuesdays. Also looking for ideas on the sorts of things that you would like to hear more about, and today a good example of that. So other than that, we'll call it a day and wish you well. Have a great week.
Great session. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.